All right, good morning. So we are getting ready to head offshore out of Hillsborough Inlet, Pompano Beach, Florida. Got a light east wind today. Should be some nice weather. And we are going to get offshore and try and chase some dolphin around. So anytime, going offshore, a lot of people like to think about, everything they're going to do to prepare their rods, their gear, their bait, and all that stuff, and that's important. But safety is the most important. So your life jackets are a given. EPIRB is super important. Handheld VHF is always a good idea. Your flare kit, a throwable, all that good stuff. But one of the things I love on my boat that I use frequently when we go offshore, just to make sure I know what's going on with the weather for that given day, is SiriusXM satellite weather. So I'm going to show you guys a close peek about some of the key features that I use. So come take a look. So we're here on the chart screen of my Simrad machine, and from there I'm going to navigate over here to my right where I've got some options. And then we can go in. I already have Sirius weather set up in my overlay right there. There's some other options, including fish mapping, which is offered by SiriusXM. We may get into that later today when I have a chance to dig around and see if we've got some good stuff offshore to talk about. But for now, let's just focus on the Sirius weather. So we've got that set up. We're going to go back in, and then looking at my weather options, you've got a variety of options here from, we're going to dive into view first though, okay? So you see these selections. These are some choices that you have in the menu in terms of things that you can look at through the weather, system offered by SiriusXM. Precipitation, sea surface temperatures, wave, wind strength, wave heights, etc., etc. Precipitation is one of the standard ones that I use. So as you, let's get out of this menu for a second. So I'm going to zoom this out a little bit. You see, obviously, all of these, the coloration here on the screen. Anything from greens and yellows to orange. We've got some good weather today, so I'm not too concerned about what we're probably going to have to deal with offshore, besides some light winds and some sunny weather. But these greens, yellows, and oranges, these are systems offshore down south of Miami that are floating around. And what I love about this is when I'm traveling like 15, 20, 25 miles offshore, maybe even going to the Bahamas, further out than my radar, for example, will give me the ability to see. SiriusXM weather can help me anticipate maybe a course or a heading that I might want to take if I see some really bad weather that's 50, 60 miles away, and let's say I may be taking a trip to Bimini or whatnot. So that was the first feature on precipitation, and just basically being able to see what kind of systems that you might have if you're traveling offshore. Next feature we're going to show you is lightning feature, which is really important to me. There's a couple of things that I fear like none other in my life. One is being around my wife when she's really upset. And the second is being offshore in a bad storm with a lot of lightning. I am petrified of lightning. And this is one of my favorite features of SiriusXM weather. You can see I went into the icon menu. You've got options from storm attributes, storm tracks, observations, which will give you information about what's happening with the weather. Lightning, I'm going to select that for right now. Now you're not going to see anything pop up on this screen right now because these storms don't look too terribly bad. But let me bring this up to show you a little bit of info. So if we could zoom in on this system right here offshore that's down south of Bimini. We've got a couple of other icons selected, so you can see if we had some really bad lightning in here, I would see like icons of lightning bolts, and I would what it does for you is it tells you which systems may have some really bad weather in them and which systems may just have some rain. I don't mind driving through rain. I don't mind fishing in rain. I really don't want to run through lightning. I really don't want to fish in lightning. So I absolutely love that feature of SiriusXM weather. You can also see I have wind direction turned on, which right now it's showing me with this system and this weather. The directional movement is basically due east of this system, which is also very helpful to know how it's tracking as you are headed offshore. All right, and so if you're like me, I really want to get offshore fishing, show you guys hopefully some great dolphin action, but I'm going to show you one last piece here on a really cool feature on sea surface temperature. So we'll take a look at that real quick. SST colored, sea surface temperature colored. I'm going to select that. If I can get the checkbox to come up, there we go. This looks like a lot of nothing right now on the screen in this red color because it's representing all one water temperature on the surface essentially. If you zoom in over here to this legend on the left hand side, it shows you basically the changing color gradient is indicative of the changing sea surface temperature. And we've got a really dark red over here because we have really warm water temperatures. We still got a lot of that summertime warm water, high temps up above 80 degrees. So we're seeing pretty much all of that on the screen here. But what's really nice about this, particularly if you get offshore and you have obviously maybe two pieces of water that are coming together, where you might see an edge or an eddy of water that's got a lighter water temperature, you'd see some shading on the map that gives you an idea of where you have a thermocline at this, basically in a change in temperature between two bodies of water at the surface. And how that can be very helpful, from a fishing perspective is typically those types of conditions will create edges, opposing currents, which is places where your plankton, your bait congregate, your weed, your debris, and typically those are really, really good areas to concentrate on from a fishing perspective. So, obviously SiriusXM has the fish mapping feature, which is much more robust and goes in much greater depth. But even on the weather side, the sea surface temperatures gives you some cool options. So enough talk. We may dive into some more of this stuff later throughout the day as we get offshore, but let's go catch some dolphins. Welcome to the Fish Blue Water channel.